Welcome to today's episode of Jazz Beats, your number one podcast for jazz news and entertainment. Here are your hosts, Jackson and Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Jazz Beats. Thank you, Kirsty. Again, I'm Jackson. Over here's Tyson.
Hello, everybody.
The best dressed man on all of podcast land.
Yes.
So if you're not on YouTube watching us, you better get on that because you won't be able to see this attire every week.
I put a lot of effort into this.
It looks that way. I don't. I'm like a first come, first serve. When I get dressed, it's like, okay, what's the first thing I just looked at?
Really?
And then that's it. That's the go-to.
No, it's all got to match. It's all got to match. Just like the Utah Jazz jerseys this year, it has to be dialed in.
The jerseys, we're really going to compare the jerseys this year to your dress up?
It seems like I saw a post earlier in last week where Jazz Association was asking for advice or some feedback on the jerseys. Well, I mean, what's happening there?
They know that they're bad.
Well, everybody knows they're garbage.
And I that tells me that they are getting negative feedback from fans. I know they have known they're bad, but now that it's like bad enough to make people voice, hey, Ryan, hey, Jazz, these suck.
Absolutely.
I think they're doing something.
Surely their data has to show at some point the number of jerseys that are selling in the fan store.
Do you think it's down?
Oh, 100%. It has not 100% down, but I'm 100% positive that the sales are down, and that the only jersey that is selling at a reasonable volume is got to be the throwback,
the mountain
jersey.
I will bet you 99% of the time when a new jersey hits, sales just jump. Because it's a new look, new colors, new everything that nobody has yet. So, yeah, if they're down after that, there's big problems to be had.
And I think that it's pretty evident. So the fact that they're actually putting that filler out there to confirm means I think they're going to use that as ammunition in a sense, and just be like, listen, we've heard your complaints, we've listened to the public. This amount of people are interested in a change in jersey. They weren't happy. We want to comply. We want to make our fans happy. So we have changed the jerseys for the 2023-2024 season.
Yeah, because after hearing that, we can all calm down. You know, I have to see these jerseys most nights. They suck. Oh, but I know they're doing something. They put out there that they're doing something. Right. So I'm good.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
That is
a
good.
big shout out. Also appreciate Fizz.
Yeah, we're at Fizz.
Drinks. Here we are at the Fizz studio in Richfield, Utah. If you haven't been down, what's the drink we're trying today?
We are going with a s'mores hot chocolate. Oh. And it's a delight. Here, cheers.
Cheers.
We just had some nachos. This place is great. Yeah. I love this place.
Yeah, I spend too much money
Monday
here.
Afternoons are my best time of the week. We're here every Monday, 12 o'clock to record. In case you're in the area, come say hi. I'm not waving at anybody, but
thank you to our audience here today. Jackson will autograph or sign anything that you bring in if it's during the recording time on Mondays 12 to 1.
Right. I'll stand by that. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Also, big shout out to Central Utah Giveaways and DraftKings, our other sponsors for today's episode. You'll hear more about those a little later on. And we got Know It or Blow It coming up later with Carter Coleman. I can't wait.
Carter Coleman, are you listening, Carter? Oh, my. I hope he does well. We need another win.
Too.
We need a W.
Yeah.
After the loss against the Blazers the other night, tell me how you felt watching that game. I mean, the fourth quarter was tough. Lowry had a couple turnovers that cost us the game. Let's just call a spade what it is spade. I hope that doesn't define him and he doesn't feel like he can't be that clutch player, because he has been that player for us in the past, and this just wasn't one of those times.
Well, I saw a thing in the last 1 minute of the game. The Jazz had 0 field goal attempts. We did not get a shot up in the last minute. I think that's including free throws.
I'm not sure that the Blazers did much better.
And we had 3 turnovers is the big one.
Right.
No shots, 3 turnovers. That's not okay. And I think we were up 1 going into that minute.
And so we had a backcourt, which was just the ball dribbled out of hands
by marketing.
And then we must have had a foul.
I don't remember.
They came up to the line, I feel like. Super interesting. The Blazer game, I really feel like we could have won it we're still without Mike, of course. Do we have an ETA for his return?
I feel like it's any day. I think they said a few days ago that he's now day to day. He is practicing, but it's just a matter of when he gets the okay to go. They were without Lillard again, so even the Mike Conley argument is not acceptable for that loss. But the crazy thing is, with no Lillard, they had Anthony Simons go off for 40 plus. What did he have, 48?
Career
45?
Game for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored the majority of the team's points the first quarter. They were 40 points, I think, by the end of the first quarter. Insane. I mean, he was just putting threes down like it was nobody's business. And it was, I'm not going to lie, they were beautiful to watch. Even though he was the opposing team. And we hung in there pretty well. We had like an 8-point deficit the majority of the game. But the Jazz are like pesky. You know, they're hard to get rid of sometimes. Even when you're got guys going off like that, we stay in the game. It just comes down to having that veteran on the court to make sure the nerves and the plays don't come in a negative effect at the end of the game.
Late game is all about veterans and all about experience, and everything just tightens up, and we haven't had that without Mike. Mike's a huge part of that. So since last time we went 2-2, we also beat the Clippers without Kawhi, without Paul George, a much needed win to break our losing streak. Big game, not a real high profile game with those guys out, but we needed it.
There's kind of a Thurl Bailey mentioned when on the broadcast of that game where we came back and lost our first home game after the road trip. He said that sometimes after a long road trip, the first game back home can be really hard.
Why is that?
I think it's an emotional thing. You got a lot of travel. You finally get back home. You're thinking you can have that breather, but in the back of your mind there is a ton of pressure. And I just think it's just a combination of the two. So, and it came into play that time, and we came back and won the second home game instead. So, interesting to see. What about the Pacers game? What a fun game that was for Jazz fans. I mean, I know we won by 13 points or whatever that game was, but it was a lot of fun. I felt like there was a lot of energy. Kind of a rough game, but I love that. I love a little bit of scrappy play, and Young Bull brings that to every possession. He is crazy out of control. I think he's going to have a lot of players in the NBA hate him because he's so rough. But when he's on your team, I love it.
So that was a game I actually missed. So this is
Pacers,
most of it's going to be on you. I've been looking at stats and highlights and stuff, and it just seems like we held everybody down. There was no guy having 45. There's nobody above 18 was their highest score.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a collective success there. It's
on the defensive end?
Yeah, on the defensive end, just everyone kind of keying in and playing off everybody.
Yeah.
So nobody went off on us, which is surprising considering we're giving guys career nights a couple times this year with the Embiid game. It was just a monster. The Simons game the other day. So that was good to see.
Some adjustments were made, obviously, for Simon on the second half. He did not perform as well, and I'm trying to remember who we put on him. I think Beasley played him a little bit on defense, and I'm wondering if that's why Beasley didn't have as great of an offensive game because he was just gassing himself on the defensive, trying to stop him from playing so well. But it was a fun game either way, and it came down to the wire. Sad to see that the last minute and a half came down to nothing exciting, just mistakes and whistles. And let's talk about the whistles really quick. We've got Coach Hardy's first technical.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Much, I was going to say deserved, but very welcomed with the call that happened right before that.
Certainly supported.
Absolutely supporting that. And Ryan Smith even went so far to go out and tweet and say, I'll cover the fine on that tee.
So I guess the fine can be anywhere between $500 to $2,500 for a coach's technical foul. Does that sound right?
That sounds low.
It does.
I'm wondering
if
it's $5,000 to $25,000.
It could be.
That sounds a little better.
That could be. So that plays an effect, right? Coach Hardy, in the press conference, he said that he's going to have to reconsider what he was getting his kids for Christmas because of the fine he was going to have to pay.
Not anymore with Ryan Smith as his owner.
Thank you, Ryan Smith. I'm going to shout out Ryan Smith next time I get a fine for really anything.
Will Hardy's kids need to be writing Ryan Smith a Christmas card.
Yes.
Saying thank you.
Absolutely. They better. That'd be hilarious.
I love it. So right before the tee, Clarkson goes up, kind of transition, goes up for layup, gets hammered on the arm, knocks him off balance, and then the body of Nurkic at that point hits him again. So he almost got fouled twice, and both of them were huge foul, like obvious fouls, and no call. I don't know what ref was looking at the time. It was on the baseline. It seems like there's always a ref on the baseline. No excuses.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I saw that same tackle on the Trojans-Utes game the other night in Las Vegas, and there was a whistle blown on that. So I'm trying to figure out how the NBA refs missed it. If you watch the game, you'll notice the very next possession, Clarkson comes down, drives to the basket, does not dare put it up. He dishes it out to the corner, and we miss a shot. It's a mind game. Once you know you're going to go down there and get hammered, it's like you start to flinch, and you're not open to putting the board up, putting it on the board, and scoring the basket. It just makes you second guess your offensive strategy because you're just not getting calls. And then Kelly had another missed call the next offensive possession after that, and I think the Jazz were just like, what do? We can't drive. They're playing us really well on the perimeter, and I think that's where we started to really struggle offensively.
I had a coach tell me that the game of basketball in a game is like 80-20 mental to physical. And that right there just shows it. Like Clarkson not wanting to go in and get to the hoop again after the call before or the no call.
Yeah.
In a game, it's 80% mental in the fact that you got to be aware of your surroundings to be able to use those physical tools that you've worked on before the game to apply those to what's going on around you. And the game is hugely mental, and that's a perfect example.
Yeah, you could see it on the next two possessions. We struggled to know what to do because we felt like we had to play against the refs as well. So, and I'm not saying that we lost because of the refs.
No.
Obviously, there were some bad calls made, and I'm watching the Jazz, so I'm sure there were bad calls made for the other team, but I'm not watching them as well. So, our offense struggled the second half. We did pick it up a little bit, but Will Hardy says we lost that game the first quarter when we let Simon score like he did.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just playing behind and catching uphill the rest of the game. So, honestly, credit to them to making it as close as they did.
Yeah. Jazz are now, we've got their record down, 14-12. 14-12 and sitting in ninth place still. So still playing game. Talked about that last week or the week before, how exciting that playing game will be if we're in it.
Right.
Just win or go home.
Is the play-in game? It will be at the.
It'll be at the higher seeds arena.
So it'll be really okay.
So for the 9th seed, we'll be on the road.
Right. Not what we want. I mean,
no.
If we're doing the play-in, I want to be in the better seeds so we can be here to watch it.
Yeah.
Because that's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's all on the line.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting is that?
Yeah, that'll be fun. It's weird that the first few weeks of the season, my mentality flip-flopped, but I'm now officially back to like a win-win mindset.
Okay.
When we win a game, it's super fun and I love it. And when we lose a game and I see us get closer to in the lottery, it's kind of a win-win. I said that at the start of the year that this season is all win-win. We win a game, great. If we lose a game, great. We're just that much closer to getting a draft pick.
Right.
I think I'm back on that for now.
Really?
Which is probably short term, but who knows?
I think, man, that's a tough one. I don't know if I'm on board with you on that. I feel like we're when Mike Conley comes back, let's play 5 games back with Mike and see what direction we go from there.
Okay.
I really feel like right now we are playing a whole different roster. I mean, we've got Horton Tucker, we've got Kelly, we've got Young Bull bringing the ball up. I mean, look at our starting lineup. Who's
good players?
Yeah, but I mean, some people are like, "Who are these guys?" You know what I mean? Like, without Mike, it's almost like, is this the Utah Jazz? I think we're having to be very creative offensively.
Yes.
And I think that's taking too much of our energy and focus to win a game.
And rotations, too. You pointed out that Horton Tucker didn't get in the Clippers game.
Yeah, that to me is extremely interesting.
And he's been kind of experimenting with him at the point guard with Conley out. So weird to see him get 0 minutes.
Right.
Just based off decision of the coach.
Right. And then the very next game, he comes in and does really well.
Yeah.
He does make a few bad passes. I mean, he's going to make more mistakes than Mike Conley in that position for sure.
Yeah.
And he's also not going to bring the mentality to the court that Mike Conley does. And I think that's more of what we're missing.
It's, again, a mental game.
Back to the mind game.
A mental game.
So, Jazz fans, where's your mind game? Are you 20% let's go or 80% let's go?
We talked about officials. Speaking of that, did you catch Rudy Gobert's ejection the other night?
What a dirtbag. No, yeah. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Why?
I don't know how to pronounce Karen in French, but I think that Rudy Gobert has a bit of Karen in him. Don't you think?
What? You got to add to that. You can't just call somebody a Karen and then cut it off. Explain.
Well, think about when he was on the Utah Jazz. I can't remember who he said it against, but he was like, "Meet me in a ring and no cameras. Let's bloody brawl." And was it Paul George? I can't remember.
Might have been Draymond.
I mean, why not? That's the most likely.
Right.
Yeah. So I just think there's a little bit of like he always bites back.
Yeah.
Wants the last word. Wants the last hit. So to see him have a tuffle and some words exchange, and then to trip this Williams bloke, what's his first name?
Kenrick
Williams, to trip him and have him fall on the ground, obvious as day that it was an intentional trip. I kind of miss it, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling about that? And then we'll have to get into how you think the Timberwolves fans are receiving him thus far in the season.
I'm not surprised.
That's what I mean.
By it.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that you rarely see smile. So to see that happen is not surprising, just because he just puts off the vibe of I'm always angry, which angry people do stupid things. So the trip was terrible. It was obvious, and the guy actually fell a lot worse than he should have. So it didn't help his case there. It didn't look good.
It's almost like he has little man syndrome, but he's giant.
Is there a big man syndrome?
That's what we need to look into that.
Okay.
We'll get back to you next week.
We're going to do a survey.
Is there big man syndrome? What do they do? Like they're just like a little man syndrome, but you're really big?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to define that, and then there's a whole workaround to our process of collecting data.
Being less than 6 foot, I have no idea about the big man syndrome, but I'll have to look into it.
Is that the line between little man and big man?
Well, I think...
Is there a middle man? There should be.
A middle man syndrome.
Yeah. There's no syndrome there. You're just, you are you.
Yeah, you're just
you are what you are.
You're just an average guy. You're that guy in the New York videos that's just walking in a black suit on the sidewalk.
I feel like that's me.
No,
That's
you're
definitely
taller
me.
than that. Oh, geez, no. Okay, our Timberwolves fans, happy to have Gobert. I mean, right now they are in 11th place in the West. Their record is 11-12. They've lost more than they've won. They've put big money. They put everything on the line for this trade. They've got probably the biggest off-season trade, I dare say, of the off-season was Rudy Gobert's trade. I mean, I don't think anything can match it.
The only one maybe in question is Mitchell, but
we all know which direction that's been going.
Right.
That's been excellent. How are the Timberwolves fans feeling about everything?
You know what? The more the season goes on, the more I hear fans or media or analysts say how one-sided that trade was and how bad it was for Minnesota. At first, I mean, it was a haul for Gobert, right? But there were a few that could say, I could see where they're going. I could see them wanting to win now. They need a defensive presence because Cat's not much of a defense. They're trying out two bigs to see what happens. But now I think it's pretty unanimous that it was a bad trade for Minnesota. They got rid of a lot of their pieces that helped their offense That's the argument I'm hearing. Helped their offense more than they thought. Okay, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley coming off a big year. And then Patrick Beverley being that guy that we got rid of, obviously, but was a huge part of it. And now offensively, they're terrible.
When you have Beverly, Beasley, and Vanderbilt, I mean, those three guys are active players. They want to score. You know what I mean? There was a couple times Vanderbilt had I think he hit 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 threes in a game. And then come fourth quarter, he was not shooting wide open shots, which I'm not sure what's going on with that, if that's coach's instruction. But back to those three players and what Timberwolves gave up. It does completely change the dynamic of the team. I mean, just what you have, the ability to bring off the bench and what they can contribute versus what Gobert contributes to a roster. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough. And I think if the money wasn't so big, fans would be like, okay, we got our defensive player. But it's because it was such a big commitment that it's like, all right, you put all your cards on the table for this. And it's not paying off as big as you want. So, it's like I think that they're a little disappointed. I think there's just some disappointment there for sure in the fan base.
They got to remember it's still early. This wasn't we talked about it being the Jazz, not a trade for this year. And I think for Timberwolves as well, they're looking at the next 3-4 years to have success. So there's going to be growing pains. We remember Mike Conley coming here and how much of a struggle it was the first third of the season.
That's a really good point.
And it's different than a team like Utah's right now, where it's everyone's new, everyone's adjusting. I think you're gonna get some guys that adjust quicker than others. So you're gonna see those big jumps in growth early on because some guys just get it. But where it's one guy into the Timberwolves roster, one big part of it, and he doesn't catch on quickly. And it takes a little longer to grow. That could be a thing. I think that's why we haven't seen those growing pains with Utah, is because everything's new and everyone knows it's new, and so you're gonna see the people catch on really quick, and maybe Gobert's not catching on really quick, or those other four are not adjusting really quick to Gobert being there.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that. It'll be fun to watch, and he's coming back to Utah. I mean, we're going to talk about our upcoming schedule. We've got our upcoming schedule and our best segment that we have.
The segment.
the only real segment that we have coming up soon. I think that Gobert's going to be well received. Well, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Should we take a break?
Yeah, we're going to take a break, hear from our sponsors, and we're going to have Carter Coleman on for Know It or Blow It coming up soon.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite.
Stay tuned, guys. Central Utah Giveaways has partnered with us, and they are giving away an electric scooter for, I was going to say, your teenage kids, but no, I would love one of those scooters. They're a blast.
They're a lot of fun, and they're worth like $600. I mean, they're a nice scooter. This isn't something you're going to find at Big Five or the Walmart. This is the good stuff. I mean, and we're giving it away, or Central Utah is giving it away Christmas Eve. So, like, what better timing could you find to give away?
The website, if you want to enter, is centralutahgiveaways.com, and entries are as low as $2. So $2 could win you a $600 scooter for you or a loved one.
So check that out. Those are pretty good odds. I like it.
Also, thank you to DraftKings. The NBA season is heating up, and there are still so many unknown things of the season. We're looking to get in on the action. I bet with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet $5 on a pregame moneyline bet, and if they win that bet, you get $150 in free bets for after that if you do.
Okay, so check it out, guys. You really should check out the app. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with the DraftKings Step Up Same Game Parlay. We all know how I feel about parlays, and every time I see Jordan Clarkson, I think, how come he hasn't dressed up as Jack Sparrow? You know, he's already got the hair. He's halfway there, and that reminds me of parlay. You know, like the parlay.
Okay.
You're struggling.
That took me a long time.
You know, the parlay, and then they have to treat you right on the ship.
Yeah, but really, the Pirates Code is more of a guideline.
Oh, it's not in stone. It's just in rotten.
According to Captain Barbosa. Anyways, The bet I like is those flash drafts on the
Yes.
regular DraftKings app.
Yes.
Ton of fun.
I've actually had some listeners reach out and ask for some guidance on this. And I actually had my wife help me the other day.
With your lineup?
Yeah, with my lineup.
Fun.
She's not so good.
Did you win?
No. I lost that. We did 2 bets, the exact same. Not great. Not great. I was thinking, doubling my money here. Didn't do well. Jackson, on the other hand, is doing well, and you guys can do well too. Like I said, you just got to win one, and you can really get ahead on your first one. So you should download the app now. Sign up with the code TBPN. That's TBPN, everybody. Place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets. If you do, that could keep you going the rest of the season. The code again is TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Gamble responsibly, folks.
And it is time for Know It or Blow It, your favorite Utah Jazz Beats podcast segment of the day.
Of the hour.
And we have Carter Coleman coming on. You ready to call?
Oh, man. Carter Coleman sounds famous. I like the name already.
It's a great name.
I have a really good feeling about this guy, but the questions are going to be tough. And you guys play along at home, too, you listeners.
I got to pull these questions out. Get ready. I got to act like we're official for Carter. Okay. Call.
Coach Carter. Carter's his first name, though, right?
Carter is his first name. Okay. There it is.
We are connected. We are.
Hey, can you hear me?
Carter, it didn't even ring. You're just antsy, ready to get on the show.
Wow.
I was ready. I had my phone in hand.
I love it. Well, Carter, thanks for being here. You're with Jazz Beats. I'm Jackson. We're here with Tyson as well.
Carter, where are you at right now? Where's home for you?
So home is Clinton, Utah, but work is in Orem, Utah.
Okay. So you're traveling the northern part of the state.
You're a commuter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good.
I am a commuter.
So you're representing Clinton, though, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Clinton's on the line here.
Okay, if you're not sure how this works, Carter, we're going to give you 3 questions, and we're going to kind of ramp them up in difficulty. We try to do that for you. If you get all of these questions right, you are the number 1 Jazz fan of all time, and you can go and share that with everybody. Now, however, if you get one wrong, I'm sorry, but you are the worst Jazz fan ever. So lots on the line.
There's a lot on the line. Yeah, a lot on the line.
Just so you know, it will be in your Wikipedia at one point in your life that you were either the greatest or the worst Jazz fan. And who wants a nasty mark on their Wikipedia?
Hey, as long as I get to the point where I actually have a Wikipedia that's my own name, that'd be pretty cool.
I like that. See, Carter's on the win-win concept like I am.
Can't we just start one for him? I mean, can't anybody edit Wikipedia?
Absolutely.
Well, get on that, Carter. I mean, you got internet. Put it up. Let's go.
I guess I'll make a Wikipedia for myself. I need something to put on there first, so I guess number 1 Jazz fan would be a good start.
That's right.
That's it.
Hey, when we're all done, Carter, you do have the opportunity to call out a friend, loved one, family member, fellow Jazz fan to see how they do on next week's Know It or Blow It. So
awesome.
Be thinking about that. Are you ready? Are you ready, Carter?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Do you want to start, Tice?
Yeah, I'll start because I'm a bit odd.
Okay. I got it. Yep, I got it.
All right, here we go, Carter. Question number 1. Dun-dun-dun. How many technical fouls has Coach Hardy had so far this year?
Just the one, right? First one in his career.
Survey says.
Just the one, Carter. Good for you, buddy.
Way to go.
Okay, question number 2. You were rolling, by the way. Also, if you don't know the answer to a question, you can pass and come back to it after. So you still have to answer all 3, but you can pass and come back if you want to hear the third question. Question number 2. How many times has a Jazz player won the MVP award of the league?
That's a tough one, man.
We ramped up pretty quick this week.
Yeah.
Let me think on that one. Let me hear the third question, and then I'll come back to that.
Okay.
Smart
Be
play.
thinking about
Smart
it.
play.
Tyson, you're up.
Okay. This has to do with current Jazz fanness. If you got the fever, baby. Question number 3.
Okay.
What former Utah Jazz man, as in a player, was interviewed with Bowler Jack and Thurl Bailey during the Utah Jazz Blazer game?
What current Jazzman was interviewed from Bullard, Jack, and Thurl Bailey.
He formerly played on the Utah Jazz.
Formerly played.
And he was interviewed by Thurl Bailey and Bullard Jack during the Utah Jazz Portland Blazer game.
Yikes. That is unfortunate. I was coming back from St. George at the time and was super sick, so I was not watching the game. But
let's give him a heads up.
Don't let the jury know.
Do we give him
a hit?
Absolutely.
An era?
Absolutely. Or also you could let him know.
What?
We're improvising here. Okay, whatever you're thinking, give him a nut.
I'm going to give you an era. This guy was a part of the 2 NBA Finals runs that the Jazz had in the 90s.
Really? Okay.
And he was a starter.
Yeah, that narrows it down. You got 1 in 5 at least.
That really narrows it down.
And if you know... never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say the answer to number 2, that question and answer to question 2, Karl Malone, 2-time MVP.
Good for you, man. Karl Malone it was.
Okay, so it's all on the line. It all comes down to you getting COVID 2022 on your drive home and missing the game.
I know, for real.
Because this is the type of stuff that happens in between timeouts and plays. You got to be like right on the money to catch this. I'm going to leave it back to you. We've given you a lot of clues.
You have.
Who's it going to be?
I have a 1 in 5 shot, but I just don't know if it's someone super obvious or someone kind of out of the woodworks.
Yeah, you can play process of elimination here and probably come up with something.
Let's do that. Who would you eliminate first? If you had to pick a player.
I don't think it would be Russell. I don't think it would be Ostertag.
Okay.
Are we telling him if he's right?
I'm just saying okay.
Okay.
I'll just shot in the dark. You guys asked me a question about Karl Malone. Maybe he pulled up to the game. I'll go Karl Malone.
Carter, we were so close. It was not Karl Malone.
That's a bummer.
It was, in fact, Jeff Hornacek, who is now working for the Utah Jazz. So,
oh, dang it. Okay, that makes sense.
I hate to say it, so I'm going to have Tyson say it.
You suck.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I understand.
Honestly, that's a tough one, especially in your situation. Our sympathies to you and your family, and all your posterity who's going to know about this.
From your Wikipedia page.
On my Wikipedia page, when I start that. Hey, that's okay. Had I watched the game, I would have got it, but I was on a different planet at the time.
It's all good. Well, we appreciate you as a listener. We appreciate you coming on as our special guest today. Who are you thinking for next week?
We'll go with my uncle, Steven Schrock.
Steven. Okay. Steven, we're coming after you next week.
Is that Steven with a V or a PH?
That's with a V. STEV.
Okay.
I like
Good
it.
man.
I like
Good
it.
man. Hey, Carter, you've been a blast. I really appreciate you coming on. It's a ton of fun having you. Just so you know, our guest record is about 50-50, so you're not alone in this, and we do make these questions pretty tough sometimes. So
that was a good one. I'll give it to you guys.
Don't take it personally. You can call us and we can make you feel better about things if you're feeling down about it. But we appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, thanks, Carter.
Yeah,
have a good one, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Have a good one.
We'll see you. Okay, we're gonna get Steven next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it even harder.
I think the contestants that don't get it right don't want to tell any of their friends they were on a podcast because they don't want them to know.
That's okay. That's a tough question. That's more of a question of did you watch the game or not?
Right.
That's it.
And maybe we should have said, did you watch the game? Yes or no. That determines the question we can even ask.
Had a backup.
Although a good Jazz fan watches
every game. That's right.
So shame on him.
That's right. What do we got coming up in Jazzland for games?
Let's find out. Okay. We've got Golden State Warriors coming up on Wednesday, December 7th. That is in Utah.
Great.
And then we have Friday.
The big one.
One
of the highlight. If you have a Jazz calendar, you circled this game. I guarantee
it. Why?
Because Rudy Gobert is coming to town Friday in Salt Lake. We played him early on in Minnesota and beat him. One of a big upset at the time. And he's coming back to Utah for the first time in his career, playing in Utah, not in a Jazz jersey.
It'll be interesting. I think he'll be well received.
I do too.
We all still love Rudy Gobert if he's not suspended for tripping that Williams guy.
Do you see us having a video for him? We had a little one for Bogey
100%.
when he came back.
100%.
Okay.
If we don't, we suck.
Shame on the Jazz.
100%.
Yep.
I mean, Rudy has been with us through thick and thin, mostly just the tall, but he's...
If you didn't know, Tyson might be the king of dad jokes.
Oh, man.
His kids despise it, I'm sure.
Oh, man. Jackson does too.
Yep.
No, I would expect a video there, and I would expect us to when he comes in and gets announced. And I hope he feels a little bit of love in Utah, and I hope that he doesn't trip any of our players.
I'm excited to see him and Conley and Clarkson pre-game or post-game.
For sure.
The big embrace. That always happens.
For sure.
It'll be good.
Yeah, no, that will be fun. Back to the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday. Really quick, I'm just going to back up for a second. Golden State Warriors are tied with us as the number 3 highest scoring team right now, points per game. So that's 117 points, which makes the game for me way fun. I would love if there was just poor defense, but the offense was just dialed in and shots were dropping. I mean, that's a way fun game to watch, which is kind of what we've seen a lot of this so far this season for the Utah Jazz. And when we play against other teams like Golden State that also put a lot of points up, it just makes for a fun, entertaining game. So this is one I'm also going to be keen to watch because Steph, obviously, he's a magician. He's like a Doctor Who. He's crazy. And I just love it when teams are just going on running streaks. So fun to watch.
Speaking of streaks, the Warriors are climbing. They were struggling really early on in the season. I think they were as low as like 12th in the West. They're now 6th. They've won 7 of their last 10. So the Jazz better be ready. Coming off a tough loss against Portland. They do have a couple days rest. So let's see if that comes into effect. But I love playing Golden State. I love watching Steph play. But I also love watching Steph lose if it's to the Jazz.
Yeah, and he will. Now, we got a back-to-back game right after Golden State. We're on a plane straight to Denver.
After Minnesota.
After Minnesota. So the Friday night we play Minnesota, and then the very Saturday night we're just over the state line and playing the Joker.
Last time we were in Denver, we did get blown out by 20+.
Huge disappointment.
So we'll see if we can bounce back from that.
We've got a chip on our shoulder, and I think we have to go back and prove to the Denver fans that we're the real deal. We're not to be walked over. We can still contend.
Anything else going on for you in your world? Tyson, how you doing?
I'm good.
Doing good.
Have we seen Joe Ingles play yet so far this season?
I haven't watched him play yet. But
so technically in Tyson's rule book, if you haven't played on another team with their jersey, you're still on the team that you were on before. So Joe Ingles is still a Jazz man. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, he's played in exactly 0 games this year.
Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that we still have Joe Ingles on the team.
That's good to know.
That's just that's all I wanted to leave with.
We can leave with that then.
Okay, and we will.
Hey, thank you guys for listening, watching, wherever you are. We really appreciate you. Thanks for sticking it out this long for us. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to the Utah Jazz. Love everything. Tyson, close us off.
Sabadabadoo, baby, let's go!